Okay, let's just dive right in. Welcome to today's explainer, where we're putting two absolute heavyweights of the skies head to head. We're looking at the Gulfstream G700 and the Gulfstream G800. Now, these are the absolute most advanced jets the company has ever built. They share the same brand, a really similar design, but they are built for two entirely different missions. So this is our ultimate flagship showdown to figure out which of these engineering marvels truly delivers more for your massive investment. And yeah, we're talking about a casual $40 million+ entry ticket here. To figure out which jet comes out on top, we're going to go round by round. First, we'll start with inside the luxury cabin, then move up front to next-level cockpit tech. For round 3, we're diving into power, speed, and range. Next up is the real price tag, and finally, we'll wrap it all up with the final verdict.
All right, round 1, inside the luxury cabin, where the journey begins. Look, when you're spending 12 to 15 hours of your life on a long-haul flight, space is literally everything. And Gulfstream, they are not playing around. At first glance, both of these jets just look massive. But when you dig into the numbers, the sheer difference in scale really hits you. The G700 gives you a cabin length of 56 feet and 9 inches, which is huge. But the G800, it comes in at 62 feet and 5 inches. That's nearly 6 extra feet of length. Now, out on the tarmac, 6 feet might not sound like a big deal, but inside an aircraft, it's enormous. That extra length translates to entirely new usable space. Because of it, the G800 can comfortably be configured with up to 5 living areas, while the G700 maxes out at 4. That fifth zone on the G800 could be a private bedroom, a second conference room, whatever your lifestyle demands. Plus, because it's longer, the G800 fits 16 of Gulfstream's signature panoramic windows, compared to 14 on the G700. And honestly, when you're in the air for half a day, that extra natural light is an absolute game changer.
And this perfectly illustrates how that extra space changes the practical use of the jet. Both aircraft can legally hold up to 19 passengers, but check out the difference in sleeping capacity. The G700 can sleep 8, while the G800's extra living area means it can sleep up to 10 people. If you're regularly doing ultra-long-haul flights where your team actually needs a full night's rest, being able to put 2 more people into a proper bed is a massive, massive advantage. But here's a number they both share, and honestly, it's arguably the most important feature of the entire cabin: 4,900. That's the cabin altitude in feet when the aircraft is cruising way up at 41,000 feet. This is absolutely crucial. See, a lower cabin altitude means your body essentially thinks it's standing in Denver, rather than, climbing Mount Everest. You arrive less fatigued, you're much less dehydrated, and basically, you just feel human. It's literally the difference between walking off the plane ready to crush a board meeting or needing to hide in a hotel for half a day just to recover. Beyond the dimensions, both of these jets share a pretty insane suite of ultra-luxury amenities. There's a cabin management system that lets you control lighting, temperature, and window shades right from your seat. Both feature ultra-high-speed Wi-Fi that actually works for video calls and streaming at altitude. But here's my absolute favorite detail. The air in the cabin is completely refreshed every 2 to 3 minutes with 100% fresh air, no recirculated air. That means way fewer germs and just incredible air quality. They also both offer fully equipped galleys, though, again, the G800's extra length allows for a larger kitchen setup that honestly rivals some high-end restaurants. Oh, and you can even configure both of these jets with a shower. Okay, round 2. Next-level cockpit tech, the Symmetry Flight Deck. Both the G700 and G800 feature Gulfstream's most advanced cockpit system ever created, the Symmetry Flight Deck. It is an absolute marvel. We're talking active control side sticks that give real-time tactile feedback to the pilots. This is literal fighter jet technology right here. The cockpit uses 10 redundant touchscreen displays to dramatically reduce the pilot's workload. And, less pilot fatigue equals a much safer flight for everyone in the back. They also pack enhanced vision systems using infrared to see straight through darkness and haze, plus a head-up display, so pilots never even have to look down at their instruments. But maybe the most impressive thing is the predictive landing performance system. Before they even start their descent, it tells the pilots exactly how the aircraft is going to perform on landing, factoring in the weight, the weather, and the runway conditions. It makes arriving at tricky airports incredibly safe. Moving on to round 3, power, speed, and range, where physics meets luxury. So how do you push these massive jets through the sky? Well, Gulfstream teamed up with Rolls-Royce. The G700 is powered by 2 incredibly efficient, remarkably quiet Rolls-Royce Pearl 700 engines, putting out 18,250 pounds of thrust each.
But remember how we said the G800 is almost 6 feet longer? To compensate for that much larger airframe, the G800 uses the Pearl 800 configuration. Those produce 18,450 pounds of thrust each. It basically just needs that slightly more powerful version to push its massive frame through the atmosphere with the exact same grace. Now this is where things get completely insane. The G700 has a maximum range of 7,500 nautical miles. In practical terms, you're flying from New York to Tokyo nonstop. That is already absurd capability. But the G800? 8,000 nautical miles. It officially holds the longest range of any purpose-built business jet in the entire world. Now, an extra 500 nautical miles might not seem like a ton on paper, but it opens up entirely new route possibilities. We're talking New York to Singapore or Los Angeles to Dubai. Totally nonstop. But wait, there is a secret behind that 8,000 number. The G800 actually holds a world record. It flew an astonishing 8,171 nautical miles nonstop. This just proves that its real-world capabilities go far beyond even its own published marketing specs. It's just an absolute marathon runner of the skies. If we look at the rest of their performance specs, they are very evenly matched up there. Both max out at a blistering Mach 0.925, which is roughly 610 miles per hour at cruise altitude. Both can fly up to 51,000 feet. And that altitude is key, because you're flying significantly higher than commercial traffic. You literally fly above the weather that's causing turbulence for everyone else down below. The only minor difference is down on the ground. The G700 needs a 6,150-foot runway, while the heavier G800 needs 6,500 feet. Honestly, it's a tiny difference, and both can easily access thousands of airports worldwide. Basically, both jets get you there at the exact same speed. The G800 will just get you a bit further. All right, round 4, the real price tag, beyond the sticker shock. So, let's break down the true costs here. The list price for the G700 is $75 million, and the G800 starts at $79 million. But here's the open secret in this industry: nobody pays list price. By the time you add in your custom interiors, the upgraded avionics, maybe a special paint scheme, you're looking at $85 to $95 million for a fully loaded G700. And the G800? That'll easily run you $90 to over $100 million. Even if you're just chartering one for a trip, it is not cheap. A G700 runs $10,000 to $14,000 per flight hour, while the G800 is $11,000 to $15,000 an hour. Like, these are not numbers for a casual weekend getaway. These are serious, heavy-duty business tools for running global empires. But I will say, for that massive price tag, you do get some truly jaw-dropping service features. Here's one that completely blew my mind: in-air remote diagnostics. If there's some kind of technical issue while you're flying 600 miles per hour over the Pacific Ocean, Gulfstream engineers on the ground can remotely diagnose and sometimes even fix the problem while you are still in the air. That is the level of space-age technology you're dealing with when you spend $100 million. Which brings us to round 5, the final verdict, making the ultimate choice. So looking at everything we've covered in this explainer today, the $1 million, or I guess the $100 million question remains: which jet is truly better? Well, the answer depends entirely on what kind of global player you are. If you're looking at the ideal buyer profile, and you're someone who needs the absolute maximum range to connect the furthest corners of the globe without stopping, you demand the ultimate cabin space with that extra fifth living area, and frankly, money is absolutely no object, the G800 is the clear winner. It holds the records, it has the space. But if you want incredible performance and you realize that a 7,500 nautical mile range is already way more than sufficient for 99% of your travel needs, well, the G700 gives you near identical pinnacle luxury at a slightly lower price point. It's the pragmatic choice. You know, if you can actually call a $90 million private jet pragmatic. Either way you look at it, with both of these jets, you are flying at the absolute pinnacle of modern aviation technology. So I want to leave you with a question to ponder. If you had $100 million burning a hole in your pocket right now, would you pay up for that extra 500 miles of range and the extra bedroom? Or is 7,500 nautical miles enough to run your empire? It's a pretty fascinating choice. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. I hope this helped clear up the ultimate flagship showdown for you. Keep learning, and I'll catch you on the next one.